Oh my god, what a day in Champions League football. Arguably, the two best teams in the Premier League were shown the exit door by these European heavyweights today. Thomas Tuchel and Carlo Ancelotti showed us a tactical masterclass in how to defeat Arsenal and Manchester City. Both in their own way and both in their own right, of course. On one end, Real Madrid avenged their 4-0 humbling in City's hands last season. And on the other hand, it was deja vu for Arsenal all over again. They haven't beaten this Bayern team in this decade, and we don't know how long this run may continue, but definitely they have to wait another year. Let's dive deeper into both these games. I want to start with Man City and Real Madrid because it was a perfect example of how to set up in an away tie in Champions League. Carlo Ancelotti walked into this fixture with all square at 3-3, knowing fully well that away goals are a thing of the past. He came in, set up his team in such a way that they blitzed in the first 10 minutes. City were never really gave up control of the game. The first goal was actually a moment of individual brilliance, I would say. If you think about that pass from Nacho to Bellingham controlled it with absolute perfection. It was laid down to Vinicius, and then Vinicius did Vinicius things. He just found an open Rodrigo in the middle of the pitch. He had the entire goal to shoot at, and he shot directly at Edison. And luckily the rebound fell kindly to him, and then he dispatched it. Mind you, this was the last shot on target from Real Madrid in this game. After this, it was all one-way traffic, my friend. City kept coming again and again and again. They had 33 shots with 9 of them on target. In 18th minute, they got so close to scoring that Erling Haaland crashed the post. The ball kindly fell to Bernardo Silva, but God knows, he's been having a rough day. He didn't know it in 18th minute, but he definitely found out in the penalties later. We all knew City plays like this at Etihad, but for Real Madrid to set up in such a way that they sat down for the next 100 minutes and defended with all their might and all their glory. Rudiger was awesome. Lunin was awesome. The entire back four was awesome. I can count the number of times that they threw their bodies on shots. City being City, they kept at it, kept coming again and again and again. They introduced Doku, which I think was a game changer because he came in, he was causing all sorts of problems down that left side, and ultimately that is where the goal came from. He put in a ball, it fell kindly to KDB, and then KDB lashed it onto the roof of the net. And moments later, similar thing happened. Arguably, this time it was an easier shot for KDB. He didn't even shoot it on target. Extra time was sort of weird because I feel like a lot of these players were gassed out. I don't recall any concrete big chances. Although it was funny because a lot of the structure that both these teams initially set up was already broken because they have given their absolute everything in the first 100 minutes of the game, and the last 20 minutes of the game was just so random. Post 120 minutes, there was the penalty shootout, and you can't script this any better. City starts off with Julian Alvarez scored the penalty right away, and get this, Modric, who I've never recalled missing a penalty, actually fucking had a very weak ass penalty. And at that point I thought, fuck dude, it's curtains for Real Madrid. We've seen this script all over again. Bernardo Silva had another brain fart, and the brain fart was so horrible that he actually just dollied it into the keeper's hand, and Lunin just got another save. Post that, I think all of the Real Madrid penalties were flawless. I think Bellingham stepped up and he just had an absolute really good penalty. And then immediately after that, Kovacic steps up. He had the exact same penalty as Luka Modric, and Lunin stops it. 2 out of 2 penalties, he blocks it. That was curtains, to be honest, because after that, although Edison scored the penalty, Rudiger stepped up. When you see the replay, you see that it actually hits the post and then goes in. Edison dives the right way, gets the right height, dives low to the same direction, but it just ricochets off the post and goes in. Ultimately, Real Madrid with their last shot on target in the 12th minute are actually fucking through. Like they are through to the semi-finals. The other game, Bayern versus Arsenal, for me it was kind of like dull because from the offset it just felt like Arsenal, I don't know, somehow Arsenal were convinced that Bayern Munich were not going to score, and it was just such a weird game. I think within the first 15 minutes, Martinelli had a couple of chances. The first shot was kind of hard. Like I'll give him that because he's like trying to curl it from the outside. But the second one was a weird one because he was in the middle of the pitch, almost like Rodrigo on in Real Madrid, but he just shot right at Neuer. For me, after that, I don't recall Arsenal having any like big chances in the game. They were kind of timid. They were like passing the ball around with not much of an output, which was weird. They did not have any big chances in the game. I don't recall. The first half was actually a snooze fest because Bayern were trying to play through Neuer. Neuer was so confident on the ball that like no matter how hard like Arsenal tried to press, Neuer just kept beating that press and just finding a Bayern player time after again. The first half was just like I feel like everyone was just happy to be 0-0, and then in the second half I think Tuchel, I don't know what he said in the halftime break, but Bayern actually came out a lot stronger. I think immediately in the 48th or 49th minute, like Goretzka crashed the post, became really close to scoring immediately after. Like Bayern looked like they were possessed in the sense that they knew that like Arsenal were there for the taking. Arsenal were not trying to like Arsenal forgot their creative genes in London. Let's just say that, right? And if anyone were to win this game in like open play or within 90 minutes, it had to be Bayern. And then I think that's what got to Bayern, and Bayern took their chances and really well. What really frustrated me about this game was the goal was so weak in the sense that Kimmich was left unmarked in the penalty area, and that is not very Arsenal-like because I've seen Arsenal throughout this year being very solid in the Premier League, and I really don't want to call them like bottlers or chokers because I feel like they've evolved from them as a team. But it was so strange, man. Maybe Arteta got outclassed by Tuchel, and probably he would be the first one to admit it. But I did not like the fact that like he wasn't adventurous enough. He had options on the bench. He should have used some of those options, and ultimately he just the last play of the game kind of summed up Arsenal's performance of that night. Saka had a good chance to like take a really good free kick from a great position, but he saw the opportunity where Ben White was running and Goretzka was there to like block it off. And the corner kick was probably the worst corner kick that I've ever seen. I wouldn't be too harsh on Arsenal because Allianz, Bayern, it's always going to be tough, but they can proudly say that like they walked away with this fixture better than the last two fixtures where they've lost some 5-2 and like 10-2 on aggregates. I don't remember the scoreline exactly. Ultimately, Bayern and Real Madrid face each other on April 30th, and it's going to be a blockbuster of a fixture. I have my money on Real Madrid. Let's see what happens. If you haven't already, I don't know what you're doing, but you should subscribe to our channel because we keep coming up with good footballing content. And if you want us to cover any specific topics that we haven't already, please let us know in the comment section below and we'll try to get to it as soon as possible. But until next time, stay safe. See ya.